Hey guys, episode 5 here, coming to you from the comfiness of my own bed. I just bought a bunch of new pillows the other day, so it's just too good not to take advantage of. Um, this episode, I kind of wanted to touch on how to create some emotional boundaries um, and just a realm of emotional safety while you're hashing out the details and trying to figure out what's going on in your life and in your relationships. And wanted to kind of analyze uh, what's happening when within us when someone says or does something that causes us hurt, and why does it cause us hurt? And um, for example, uh, say someone just says something mean, and we get offended, and it makes us feel bad, and for this or that reason. Why do we feel bad? And is it possible? And if it is, how do we make adjustments in our thinking so that our mental boundaries are strong enough to where we can't get hurt by what's going on around us? And a little bit of shadow here. Hope you don't mind. Um, anyways, uh, so whenever I think about this, uh, I think hurt, the feeling of being hurt, uh, is a variation of emotions, and those emotions come from thought processes, and those thought processes come from beliefs. Now, if someone says something that's contrary to our beliefs and we're firm in what we believed previously, then their words will have no weight, and their battering ram of offense can't get past our gate, because we simply know it's not true. It's not a reflection of who we are, and so we don't own it and let any of those negative thoughts manifest in us, which causes us negative emotions. I think there's ways that we can be hurt despite that process, and that we get hurt at the revelation of how someone proves they're really thinking or feeling towards us or about a given situation. And so I think when we're guarding our hearts and minds and our emotional boundaries, there's two hurts that happen. It's either a personal hurt, or it's, I guess you could just say, non personal hurt, where you're hurting for someone, empathetically almost. And if someone says that you're being a jerk, say something kind of common, it's going to happen once in our lives at least, I think, for most of us, to where someone's going to call you a jerk. And um, sometimes maybe the emotional manifestation of that will be kind of annoyance, and it'll cause some, maybe even just a glimpse of introspection, and we'll think, yeah, I am a jerk, and we might feel a little bit annoyed, or we'll be, no, I was being stern in communicating something with the truest and most genuine intent of my heart, and you are taking it offensively, and your emotional reaction is not a reflection of who I am, and I know I'm not a jerk, and therefore you don't own that thought process. And if you don't own that thought process, because your belief said don't own it, then you won't have those negative emotions associated with those thought processes, and therefore have guarded your hearts and minds. And I think when something that is said gets past our boundaries is because it actually is inflaming something that we already believe about ourselves, or it's a suggestion of a new thought process or belief that we haven't really held, and therefore have no foundation to either reject that thinking or not. And so sometimes, and I think that's a big part of growing too, is we'll go through a lot of things, we'll adopt a lot of uh, concepts about ourselves through what other people do and say, and we're never really going to learn who we are, I don't think, unless sometimes, difficult situations will happen, and then because of the discomfort of that situation, then we'll really look within and try to figure out what the truth of it is and get it resolved. So that's one of the big aspects of growth, and I definitely don't advocate um, growing through negativity, because we can grow through just direct love and direct truth, but we're in an imperfect world, and so I've learned to kind of associate the troubles I'm having with there's a lesson in it that I need to learn, and there's a belief system in there, and the belief system needs to either be corrected, rebuked, or affirmed. And because a lot of the times, if someone calls us a jerk, we really are being a jerk, and we need to work on ourselves, not just for us, but for the people around us too. And so if we want to have true emotional boundaries, especially in the context of my previous 4 videos, as if you're in a narcissistic relationship, and because especially sometimes they seem to be psychological experts at knowing how to get past our boundaries and then set up the framework within our own mind exactly how they want, so they can control it. It's just blatantly kind of a form of mind control, and so we need to learn how to guard our hearts, or we're just gonna end up kind of allowing the perpetrators to possess our minds, and we'll just lose ourselves entirely sometimes. And so throughout your day-to-day interactions, if you do find yourself feeling hurt, you need to try and be able to clearly see what happened or what they said, what it was that they did that there was causing you to feel this way. And then you have to realize that those feelings are connected to a belief system. And so gently dealing with yourself and as best as you can, gently dealing with the pain that it caused. We need to try to meditate on what's going on inside of us and try to find out what the belief systems are that have gotten inflamed from that circumstance. And when it comes to dealing with that, we have pretty much two options. We can disassociate from it, try to forget it or sweep it under the rug, but we all know that doesn't really work. It still stays in our mind. It just gets stored in a different place in our brain, and it's still gonna manifest problems in our consciousness because it's still there in our subconscious and unconscious. And so we'll either dissociate it from it, or we're going to meditate on it and figure it out. And when we get really strong at meditating on it and figuring it out, then we can deal with these issues real time. And our defenses and mental fortress can be strong in real time. And it's not always going to be to where we have, that a quick defensive and healing response to something that happens. But we still have to be willing to be patient with ourselves, because through the course of time, we can build mental boundaries that can be really strong. We can go through a day and be able to guard the joy we have, and not let it get smashed, because sometimes it feels like going through life and day to day, with your joy, it's like, perpetrators are like moths attracted to a light bulb, and the light bulb's being your joy. And so without being able to learn how to stand fast with really good mental boundaries, we're just gonna have our true selves smashed down, and we're gonna disassociate from the world, and be afraid to be present, like present in the moment, with your true self, and not afraid to hide any aspect of yourself. I'm saying a lot of ums in this video, I'm sorry. Anyways, so an opposing situation will only get past the boundaries of our mind if it challenges our belief systems in a way that it carries more authority than what we previously believe. Or two, if we're not willing to deal with it in real time, it'll still manifest as negative thoughts until we finally get around to dealing with it. Or three, we'll have developed the strength to immediately reject that negativity, because that negativity it's birthed from beliefs. It may not be your beliefs, it's birthed from their beliefs, and you don't want their beliefs to get transferred to you through that negativity. You want to have a really strong sense of self and identity in that, and take your shield of faith and truth and deflect that arrow of negativity they're shooting at you. And oftentimes it'll feel like a barrage of arrows throughout the whole day, and you'll be very tired at the end of the day, but you did a good job, and you stood strong. And so as you're going out throughout your day, having a good time, being your normal, joyful self, of course, there's always some issues that need to be working on, but yielding the fruit of the beauty and light that you do have. And if someone tries to do something to interrupt your good mood, it's our responsibility. Their hearts aren't our responsibility, but we do have an opportunity to help them in a healthy and responsible way. So we can't carry the burden and the pain of feeling like we have a responsibility for the way other people feel. That's between them and God. But we do have our place to be the best we can to help them. But we can't let our empathetic connection to them drain us of all our goodness, because most oftentimes their issues are so much more deep rooted than in positivity, and a lot of times that energy alone isn't going to reach them. They're just absorbing that energy as food, and all the weird, malicious, emotionally starved ways that they have. And so you gotta stand strong. Some arrows will get past your boundaries, but we gotta be strong. We gotta be real time as best as we can. We gotta find those arrows. We gotta find out where they hit us in our heart, because a lot of times we don't know. And we gotta look at the surrounding tissue in our heart that it hit, and find out what the beliefs are in those areas. And because remember, the only way it hit those beliefs is because our mental shield wasn't able to quench the concept and authority that arrow had on its way in. So we need to take the time to look within, and you can visualize pulling the arrow out. I don't know if that'll actually help, because the wound's still going to be there. And then we need to ask God, what is the truth about this situation in my heart, not with them, because people are just, they're not perfect. And so crap's going to happen. And so we need to pretty much just, in a way, emotional boundaries is also just forgiving them in real time, knowing that they're not perfect, and that God has a plan for them, and then we can protect our emotions and our sense of justice, knowing that God has a plan, and we need to abide in His plan and not retaliate, and get the specific downloaded wisdom for how to deal with that situation. And anyways, so as we're looking at our heart and looking at that wound, we need to know what that area of our heart's supposed to look like. And a lot of us, we grow up super wounded, and so we think wounded is normal, and so that's why a lot of us don't ever even get healing in that area ever, is because we literally view it as normal. And we're never going to get healing unless we know what it's supposed to be like. And that's why I think it means in the Bible, the truth will set you free. And so we need to ask God what the truth is about this situation. And I usually confess the lie that I was believing to Him, and then I ask Him to help me receive His truth, and then to sweep all the junk out that had to do with that, and then start living according to His truth. And then a part of emotional maintenance is making sure we stand strong in that truth, because His truth is kind of like a seed in a way that'll get planted in our hearts, and that seed is vulnerable there, and we need to protect it until it grows and matures in us and gets rooted and can start flowering its nice fruit within our hearts, because that truth needs time to work its way into being connected into all the other belief systems so that it is able to positively affect and interact with the rest of us. And every belief within us affects every other belief, I think, for the most part. And so we need to do whatever God says to do to guard our heart in that. So it might be staying away from that person, so they can't try to fire a bunch more arrows and dislodge that seed. Or sometimes I think we'll kind of forget about that area that God's working on, and then it won't get watered through our attention and nurturing of it, to make sure it gets rooted and grown into all our other thought processes, and then it'll just get dried up and the seed will die and be forgotten. And then yet worse, in the spiritual realm, there's a concept that the birds of the air will fly by and fly off with it or something. And so I think there's even a spiritual robbery that can happen with that seed, and so we need to stand guard and protect our seed from those three things, so it'll have a chance to root and grow in every part of our heart. And so really any wound that happens, the pain that we feel, is actually an opportunity to look within and to be able to do that with every single thing in our heart. And that's a great way, I think, to try to get rid of the victim mindset, because the victim mindset is so perpetrator focused, which keeps us almost trauma bonded to them in a way. But if we are, I don't really have a name for it, but if we're, I don't know, call it seed oriented people, then we'll know that everything is about beliefs, and we need to nurture the beliefs in our own heart to make sure that we're functioning correctly according to truth. And then once all those things are firmly in place, and our mental boundaries will be able to deflect a future offense of that same type. And so a lot of the pain we feel in life is just a call to address things that are in our heart that aren't that haven't been corrected yet. So we can either be a victim or we can be a steward of our own heart. And victim mindset will just keep us in the cycle, keep us dissociated from our own heart, and so we need the exact instructions on how to guard that seed in our life, or else it's not going to stay there, and we aren't going to experience growth. And so that could be removing yourself away from that particular person. I don't know. There could be tons of different responses we should make, but and then another important aspect of us feeling offended and hurt by that is because we're viewing them as having done something wrong. And so our justice system wants to kick in, and we want to make it right. And so oftentimes we just kind of emotionally retaliate with less than perfect response and act, and that just doesn't help. It's kind of like fighting fire with fire, I guess you could say. And we really just need to get wise about all the small circumstances that happen, because every little thing that happens matters. You're not too sensitive. Every aspect of God's nature matters, and you're created in His design. Every little thing matters. So it's a call out, especially for the hypersensitive people. I think that hypersensitivity is a gift, to be able to look deeper into even more details of people and ourselves and who God is, and it's a blessing. when we're healed, because we're so much more aware of all the intricacies of nature and personality. So that's it for this video. Sorry for the bedside quality. Actually, I'm not. I'm a little bit sorry for that. And I hope you got something out of it. So guard your hearts, guard your minds. It's belief based. Emotions come from thoughts, which come from beliefs. And beliefs, there's a whole realm of how all that operates and comes to being, and we need to be aware of that too. So bless you. It's the end of episode 5. Peace.